All right. Hello, everyone. This is Josiah, aka the real Josiah, and I'm here to show my power rankings. We made it 1 week through. It's been a good week one, too, but let's get straight to it. Power rankings. And first, I have to start off at number 17. I think Ashley is playing the worst game right now, which is sad. A lot of y'all know I've been an Ashley fan since day one, was rooting for her. She said she knew the game, but our girl Ashley, she's just not doing anything. And when you're not doing anything, I have to put you last. Does not mean she will go home over Taylor and Yash. Of course, we have more games to be played. We have to see if she is even on the block by the time we get to the eviction vote. But for now, Ash is going to be last for me because she's just not playing hard enough. Next up, we have Yash at 16. I feel like Yash has been on the block forever. But for him, he's doing fine. He hasn't done anything to upset anyone in particular, but he has put himself in this spot where he's on the block. And so he is going to be seen as more of a threat than Taylor and Ashley, and so therefore it's more likely than not he'll end up going home this weekend if he is still on the block when eviction time comes. Yash was an alternate. He's always kind of been seen as that other guy. Between Taylor and Ashley, I personally would prefer for Yash to go home. When it comes to power, he's lacking it, and no one's really going to back for him. And that's the same thing for Yash and Ashley right now. You bring their name up, you're not upsetting anybody. The reason why Taylor is at 15 is because if you bring her name up as saying you want her to go home, you might piss some people off. People like Lala in particular, even Jason a little bit. I think most people are just assuming she's going to be there still post eviction night. Now, there are some rumblings. People like Angela and others starting to talk about maybe trying to get rid of Taylor because of her connection to Jason. I think that's a really good point. I don't know if Angela's savvy enough to get people on board with this idea, but I don't think it's a bad idea. We'll see. And then I think Haley at 14 is going to surprise some people. She is in the Red Corner Alliance. If you've been watching the feeds, everyone and their mom hates Haley. No one likes Haley besides Kamu. Kamu's the only guy, and Chuck likes her a little bit too. But if you want to bond with someone, you shit talk Haley. That's like the best way of getting people to like you. And because she is the person that everyone's just kind of throwing under the bus, I'm going to put her at 14 right now. I don't think she's in a good spot. I think she's most likely to end up on the block somehow next week. All right. Mallory, here we are from the block to spot number 13. Definitely an increase. She's moving in the right direction. She's starting to have more conversations, starting to get a little loud about trying to get D out. But all in all, I think she's proven she can win at least some comps. And so I think that definitely gives her a little bit more ammo in her back. People shouldn't be as happy to put her up, and I think that's the biggest thing. Like, she went from, and really, you look at Taylor, you look at Yash, you look at Ashley. Right now, those are people who, whoever stays, can probably end up on the block again next week. Everyone says they won't be the person to do that, but we'll see when we actually get there. Mallory, though, um, she can fight for herself. Like, that's been proven. So she's a little bit less likely to end up on the block again next week, but she still doesn't have the social capital where I think she's someone that people would be afraid to put up. So she's in a weird spot where she's gotten a little bit of credibility, but she still doesn't have that oomph. People still aren't really gravitating towards her. She really needs to fall into an alliance to really move up these rankings a little bit. Speaking of alliances, Melody's been fighting. She's been desperately looking for one, but you can tell she just doesn't have all the tools. She doesn't have all the tools needed to really build an alliance. She has to kind of fall into one. And she's working with Drew. Drew is someone who is just in a much better position than her, and she's basically a pawn for Drew. And especially since everything she tells him, he tells Devins, it really just makes her placement lower than I think she would definitely rank herself right now. Next up, I have Lyric. Lyric and Melody definitely could have been interchangeable. The reason why I have Melody at 12, though, is because Melody was realistically an option for the block this week. She easily could have been on the block. D decided to go with Ashley over Melody, but Melody was still in plenty of people's names as a very realistic nom. I can't say the same for Lyric. Lyric hasn't really been someone that too many people have been talking about. I do think it's very possible she could be someone that you just put on the block, hoping that no one takes it too seriously. But I do think her connection to Rome makes that a little bit less likely. And so, at least for now, unless you're trying to take a shot at both Rome and Lyric, it seems like, in which no one is really talking too much about, from what I've seen at least. And so that's what makes me feel okay about Lyric. I never love someone jumping into a showmance publicly, but it seems like it's working okay for her. People aren't being too loud about it, especially with them trying to downplay it, which never works. All right, next up we have Lala. Lala, I have at 10. It's really hard for me to make her much higher because she is in an alliance with Jason and Rome. We talked about that in the last video, which is sweet. Good for her. She has a real ride or die in Taylor, but her ride or die is Taylor, who's currently on the block. If she loses Taylor, her working with Jason and Rome, sure, but she doesn't have a lot of other things she's bringing to the table unless she can win an HOH here to kind of prove herself some. Lala is someone who I think is in a lot of danger potentially, especially if Taylor somehow ends up going home this week. So I like Lala. She brings a lot of life and energy, but it's hard for me to rank her higher on this list currently. All right, next up at number 9, we have Rome. Rome needs to play the game. He's playing Love Island, which everyone talks about. But I do think Rome needs to lock in some. He has plenty of potential. People like him. He did well in that one competition we've seen him do. So I do feel like he has some physicality. I feel like he can definitely win some competitions. And so I like that for him. But he hasn't really been in a spot where he needed to win a competition or really play the game too hard. And if you wait too long to play this game, the game will play you. And Rome is definitely at risk of getting played. And then I missed number 8. And so I had to merge Barrett and Angela into number 4. So forgive me for that. But number 7, I have, or technically 8, however you want to count. I have Jason at 7. Jason, I think, would be lower for a lot of people because he is in a risky spot. If he doesn't win HOH this week and one of the vets do, or even Drew or Barrett, there will be pressure to put Jason up. And it's just because he's been so obnoxiously loud about trying to get the vets out. He's told literally everyone he possibly could besides the vets. And when you do that, you're going to put a target on your back. I like Jason. I like how aggressive he's playing, but you've got to pull it back a little bit. Everyone talks about him being a little sensitive, probably, to not being considered an icon. I think that's valid. I can't tell if he takes it too personally. I think he honestly just wants to get rid of the vets because he actually does want a little bit more attention on himself and the rest of the cast. His thought process isn't wrong, it just doesn't work for this game 100 times out of 100 times, unfortunately. So we'll see. Maybe he'll be the one to kind of create a new path for people to actually go after these vets, but I'm not feeling overly optimistic for his chances here. But I like him, and so I have him at 7 for now, knowing that there's a huge risk that he actually does end up falling a little bit further down. Next up, we have Kamu. I think Kamu and Chuck are higher for me than a lot of people would have them. I do think, like, we have our top 5 here, the crossovers. They're dominating the game in almost every single way you can look at it. And there's a huge drop off after them. This group of Chuck all the way to like Mallory, they're all pretty close to each other. So I wouldn't say the difference between a 5th place rank and a 13th place rank are overly different, which sounds crazy, but it's just true. I think that we'll see a little bit more separation between this group as we get further into the season, but for now it's relatively close. So Kamu I have at 6 because he's actually a part of an official alliance. Yes, it's a fake alliance, but he is at least trying to play the game the correct way. And it's really only because he's in a fake alliance for why he's not playing well. His strategy, talking with D about different nominees, all made sense to me. And the problem with him is he's a bit off-putting. So like he joins the conversation kind of fizzles out. He comes in and tries to have a one-on-one with someone, he's just a bit too aggressive and people don't really bond with him that well. I do think he still has potential in this game, but the the social aspect is just not his strong suit. The fact that he's working with D and D is not going to actively go after him helps him a lot. The fact that a lot of people don't like Haley doesn't help him as much though, because everyone connects him to Haley. And so he definitely could be lower, but pretty much everyone below 5th place is just at risk of being put on the block next week. There's not too many people who are just absolutely safe. So, given the fact that he has some upside with HOH, I'm just going to keep him at 6, even though I know it's a little bit of a tricky spot for him. For 5th place, I have Chuck in the power rankings, just because no one's really talking about him too much, but he's also not doing anything. Again, he could easily be our 13th spot, but just because he doesn't have a massive target on his back, he's able to float along here a little bit pretty well. He's not talking too much. I would want him to be a bit more aggressive, but I'm not a big fan of the red corner, so I'm okay with where he is for now. So we'll see what happens with HOHs, but it seems like a lot of these people don't even want to win HOH next week. And so it's a little frustrating when you see how bad some of these players' situations actually are, and people somehow just convince themselves that they're safe. I might make a video on that, on the delusion of being in the Big Brother house and thinking there's actually a such thing as safety. Anyway, Chuck is at 5 because he's just fine. He's like the only player who's not really in a terrible situation. And it's hard for me to see someone just putting him up to for no reason next week. All right. Next up, we have 4th/5th. Bar Ange, Barrett, and Angela. They're both in the crossovers, and they're honestly both in a pretty similar spot for me. They are a part of a very strong alliance, has a lot of connections throughout the house, but neither one of them have enough solidified things outside of the alliance that makes me feel good. And even within the alliance, both of them feel like they're towards the bottom of it. And I would like to see them either get closer to each other or get closer with some other people outside of the alliance to give themselves some ways out if they do want to, possibly backstab the alliance, or just help the alliance be stronger by them having more connections. That's where Barrett and Angela are slacking right now, whereas Devins, Drew, and D all have some pretty strong relationships outside of the key group. Devins has the red corner, but he's also had really good conversations with everybody. He even had a good conversation with Rome where he was like, hey, we need to watch out for each other. And I think people realize Devins is a threat. I don't think they really understand why he's a threat to their game. But in general, outside of Jason, he's doing fine. Like, I don't think anyone's gun ho on him having to get out. Even Lala and Taylor are just kind of like, yeah, Jason, you're right. We probably should go for vets. But no one's like, yeah, it has to be Devins. They're just like, yeah, we probably should get these vets out. So this is the appropriate amount of target on Devins' back right now. He's done the absolute best I think he could have done in this situation, though. And he has power, he has influence, he has an alliance. So that's why he's going to be 3rd for me. I think Drew's placement might trigger some people. I think he's playing a great game. The problem is he's just telling the vets too much. But for me, when I look at Big Brother, the thing I always care the most about is social capital. Are you connecting with a lot of people? And are there people who will go to back to try and defend you? Right now, we've seen Devins already try and calm down the D and Angela paranoia on Drew. Like, that's someone who's already defending you in conversations without making it super obvious. He has a strong relationship with Melody, where Melody actively wants to work with him and build something. It seems like she's even trying to bring him into working with Lyric and Rome. That could be a really good secondary alliance, really making sure he's safe in a lot of different scenarios. He's also, the problem for a guy like Drew is that people are starting to notice his relationship with the vets, D and Devins. If he continues to keep that up and people realize that relationship is as strong as it really is, he could be in trouble. But I'm hoping they don't. And so far, they haven't fully caught on. And so, at least for this week, Drew is going to be in that 2nd spot for me because I think he is playing the 2nd best game so far. Next up, we have D. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen D's Survivor seasons, but I am infatuated with D right now. Everyone knows she's drop dead gorgeous, but she is so smart. The way that she went about this week, her nominees. I've seen some discourse around people feel like she should have put up Ashley earlier than she did. But the problem is if she would have included that second group, if she was like, okay, I'm gonna put up Taylor, Yash, and Ashley because those are the three groups that weren't mine, and then let's say Taylor, or it would have been Taylor, Yash, Mallory, and so like if Mallory won. Wait, how would she have done it? I'm blanking on what the exact people would have needed to be. But either way, whoever would have ended up taking themselves off the block, she would have had to look at Barrett as that next option. And so I think this played out perfectly. You had Mallory, Taylor, Yash, one person from each team. You played dumb a little bit like, oh yeah, there were two people who weren't playing in the competition. Now you can put up Ashley without too much pressure for it to be Barrett. There's always a little bit, but this still worked out perfectly. And for the most part, she doesn't have too much heat on her. Taylor still likes her. The only person really coming for her right now is Mallory. Jason, in theory, is coming for the vets, but he still likes D a decent amount. He's really prioritizing Devins and Angela. And so, D, at the end of this week, I don't think you can play it any better than she has. And so she's going to get my first spot. Right now, she's the queen of the house. And I would love to see her keep it up and just play like this really strong game. But I think it's already starting to get a little messy from what we've seen on the feeds. She's already starting to buy into Angela's delusions a little bit. I'm hoping she can rein her in a little bit and keep her calm, but we'll see. But I'm psyched, y'all. This has been a fun season. It's been a little bit safe. Like, so far, everything's kind of nothing too crazy has happened. But I think as we get to like weeks 2, 3, 4, things are gonna shake up, and I can't wait to see how they start strategizing and a little bit more strat. Never hurt nobody. Anyway, I appreciate the support, y'all. Channel's trying to grow, still new to this, but I'm excited to keep making videos as the weeks go on. And I should have another video on either like Friday or Saturday. We'll do another Win Equity post HOH. And then I also want to start making some more content around just like actual relationship strategy, because you can learn so much by just getting like a quick clip, and you can just like see on people's faces like, are they resonating with that or aren't they? But let me know what y'all think. Do y'all agree with this list? Do you not? Either way, if you could like or subscribe, I would appreciate it. But I'll see y'all soon. Peace out.